Alright, if you're watching this video, it's because you read the headline, and it's basically the things you need to know if you're going to embark in the project of changing your rollers on a QRS clutch. Now, I've learned so much from this project that I felt that it was important that I make just a little video to tell you everything I've learned. And if you listen to this video, I'm sure I'm going to save you some headaches and some time. Number one, this is a 213. It's off a 213 Expedition, so it's the clutches with the pins that hold the stud in versus the 2012 and older models, which is a stud and a C-clip. So this is the model with those infamous pins. Now, if you have a 213 or newer with these pins, the first thing you want to do is you want to find out how big this pin is. This pin right now on this model here, and it's an Expedition 213, is 18 millimeters long. On a 215 600 Summit, it's 30 millimeters long. Why is that important? Well, I'll tell you why that's important. If it's a very short pin like this one, the pin does not go through the entire clutch. This entire clutch is about 30 millimeters thick. So you will read about people being successful at being able to remove this pin with a drill bit or a screw extractor. There's various techniques. Research it on DoTalk. All sorts of techniques. You may be lucky. You may be able to use one of these, even a reverse direction or left-handed drill bit, and pull your pin out. Or you could be like me and be very unlucky with this and not be able to get it out because it's jammed solid. If that is the case, okay, there are some very simple techniques you can use to save yourself a headache. First of all, if it's the short one, you can't punch it through because the hole is only about maybe 3/4 of an inch. If it's the long one, I'm sure if you look in the back, you'll see there'll already be a hole through it, and you'll be able to punch your pin right through it. It's going to be easy. So if you've got the short one, 213 for example, and it's a short pin, it's stuck and you cannot get it out, don't sweat it. Your number one thing you need to do is drill it out. And to drill it out, you need drill bits with a hex shank like this. Start with a 3/32 drill bit and drill it right through the entire sheave. To do that, you're going to have a hard time because your drill is not going to be able to be close to the shaft. You need an extension, simple extension. It'll get you away from the shaft. Drill it right through, straight as possible. If you need to guide your drill bit, I'd use a socket, and I'd use it as a guide so that I can guide and make a perfect hole. Drill it right through. Once you've drilled it right through, all you need to do is take a Dremel with a round head, just because what'll end up happening is your hole that you're going to make is going to come out right on the round bevel. So you're going to need to gouge it out a bit with a Dremel just to simplify or ease your centering of your drilling. And then you're going to go to a 1/8 inch drill bit, and using the same contraption and using an extension, you got to find yourself an extension. You're going to then be able to sit there and drill your 1/8 inch hole. Again, I used my socket, a 1/2 inch socket, as a guide, and that thing worked perfectly. Just use that as a guide here, as you can see, and you can drill right through. Once your hole is drilled and you get close to the pin, you'll feel it. All you need then is a small punch. You know, I'm lucky here that I got an 1/8 inch punch. So all you need is a punch, and you're able to punch your pin through. That is fairly simple. Once you do it once, you realize that that's simple, and you look at all the time you spent trying to get these pins out, you realize that's what you should have done right off the bat. So my recommendation is, you have a hard time, you can't get it out, don't sweat it. Stop right there, go get the right drill bits, drill it out, punch it out. That's half the battle. The other part of the battle, it's very, very important. These studs, they're a Torx 27. And that, in my mind, is a very, very poor size. Torx 27 does not give you a great deal of torque capability. Very, very, very easy to strip the bolt head. So very important to warm it up. I didn't warm them up when I did mine. So what did I end up doing? I ended up damaging the head and stripping the heads a bit. When you take these bolts out, there's a hole in them, right? Because you just have to have that hole in there to put the pin in. You need to figure out which side that bolt comes out of. So identify, take a marker, do a 1 or a 2 on the other side. If you pull the bolt out, that's your number 1 bolt, that's your number 2 bolt. You can't damage this bolt. You damage this bolt, you just gave yourself another headache. Because then what you got to do is you got to buy a new one. And the new one doesn't have a hole. You got to drill that hole. This is 10, I would imagine 10.9 strength metric bolt. It's very, very hard to drill in. So now if you damage your bolt like I have, you got to buy a new one. You don't have a hole in it. So when you do install it, you're going to have to drill a hole through the bolt. Very hard to do. You can drill it, you can put it in there, torque it, and attempt to drill it while it's there. I did that on the one side, and it wasn't too successful. Or you can do what I did on the second side, which was a heck of a lot more successful, is put in your bolt, torque it to the right torque, then you'll know exactly where the thread needs to be. Take a small centering punch, tap it a few times, take your bolt out very slowly without damaging the bolt head, and then I actually took a nut, just an 8mm nut to help me, and I slowly with the drill, actually it was with the drill, I started with a 5/64 drill bit, I believe, slowly started to drill a very small hole, and then I made a bigger one until I got a nice 8-inch hole. Got to drill very, very slow in this. You drill too fast, it'll heat up, you won't be able to get through it. So if you take your time, it goes well. Once you've got your hole in the right spot, you can re-put it in. Now you don't need to worry about torquing, because if you start torquing, you'll never be able to get it back to the same spot. So put it back in, tighten it slowly till you get your alignment, take your pin, put them in. Simple as that. So this project could become very, very, very difficult and complicated, or it could be very simple if you listen to what I've shared with you, because it is a very simple process once you understand all the things you shouldn't do. And trust me, I think I've done them all. I've got a bag here full of broken drill bits. I've got busted nuts here, stripped heads. I've got sockets that are torques that are stripped. I mean, we had a hell of a time doing this project, but I can assure you that if I did another one now, sharing what I've shared with you, it would be that much more simpler.